All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Planet Film Network. I am one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I'm your other host, TJ Cornwell, and tonight we're going to be reviewing episode 4 of Andor.
All right, so just jumping into things here, episode 4, for me, absolutely insane episode. I thought that as great as the first three were with setting up everything on Ferrix, I thought that this episode just kind of spread the story out so much more in so many interesting ways and interesting paths and stuff that I wasn't even expecting. So I absolutely love this. But what are kind of some of your initial first thoughts on the episode?
Yeah, I'm with you a lot there. I thought we got a good kind of continuation of the story overall. We saw more of Stellan Skarsgård's storyline, Diego Luna,
Mm-hmm.
where he ends up, as well as kind of the buildings and the makings of this small little rebellion we have. You know, in the episode, we see a group of, I don't know, 5 people maybe,
Yeah.
um, that are really kind of starting this up, and then you see on the back end as well where the support is coming from as well, which we probably already could have assumed, but it's nice to see and get a little confirmation, as well as the issue with that. And then as
Mm-hmm.
well, you also see the Empire's side, not the a little bit of like the police people we were dealing with in the first 3 episodes, but more the Empire side than them, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I really liked in this kind of just talking about the corpos for a second because we
Mm.
really, you're right, we really only with them with the actual organization, we really only get that one scene of kind of the fallout slash repercussions of Cyril Karn's actions of
Mm-hmm.
going against his direct orders to basically make it go away. So that I love how he said last episode, or sorry, I think it was the first episode. He
Mm-hmm.
tells Cyril, he was like, don't get involved, just make it be an accident. We don't want any reason for the Empire to come for an inspection, and he blows it so far out of proportion that the Empire doesn't just come for an inspection.
Mm-hmm.
The ISB, the Imperial Security Bureau, comes and takes over the whole operation, like,
Mm-hmm.
and gets everybody fired. Luckily for Cyril, his mother lives on Coruscant, which we saw in this episode. So my guess is he is not going to be out of action for too long. Before Deidre Marrow, who is another character that we are introduced to this episode, I thought that she was fantastic. She was the one that said that she based some of her performance on like Gus Fring, just very like practical,
Yeah.
like pragmatic about things. Like, and I really felt that. I thought that she was very, very good in this.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna
I,
guess the
I
two of them team up.
yeah, I thought between those two characters there seemed to be a very clear comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Both kind of being told to stay in their lane and both kind of veering out of that lane,
Yeah.
which I thought was really interesting. Especially her because she was kind of a new. She's new, it seems
Mm-hmm.
like, to the Empire and how this whole thing works, and she obviously finds what happened. And she's trying to gather information. She's basically told to just like shut up and stay in your sector basically.
Yeah.
Um, but she did get a kudos from what's his name on
Kyburn
something. I
himself.
forget what it
Yeah.
was. Yeah, he was like, "Oh,
Major
kudos to
Partagas.
that report or whatever you did. Like, good job on that."
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested to see how this goes. I'm assuming, like you said, like they team up probably just because they seem to have very similar characters.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think you're right to really tap on the whole. They're kind of both having their own little mini rebellion within their organizations. It's like
Mm-hmm.
they are not rebelling against it in the sense of not believing in what they believe in, but that the others almost aren't by the book enough that they want to
Uh,
go deeper into some of these things. And I loved like I said, Major Partagas, who's played by I forget his name right now, but um Kyburn from Game of Thrones, which
mm-hmm.
if you guys watched PFN Live this past week or follow us on TikTok, you will know I am no fan of Kyburn. But oh yeah, Anton Lesser, duh, also fantastic in Chernobyl. Anton Lesser. Which did
Right.
you know
Yeah.
actually? Not only the Stellan Skarsgård and Anton Lesser Chernobyl connection, but one of the reasons this show looks so good, it's the same set design team from Chernobyl that's working on this show.
Oh, I
Which
didn't know
I've
that. No.
production design, which totally makes sense to me. Feels very gritty, real, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, Anton Lesser, I thought for me, kind of stole this episode. In terms of new characters that we met, I did really enjoy Marrow and also Blevin, the
Mm-hmm.
other ISB, kind of. I don't know what you would even call them, but supervisor, I guess it says right here, sir. On the Star Wars databank, supervisor Blevin. I thought that he was great too, kind of saying, they have that moment where Partagas comes in, and I love that he just the doors open and he just goes speak, like
Yeah.
let me hear it. He's just very like hands behind his back, just like super. I need you to tell me what you need to tell me in as few words as possible. I will register it, give you my thoughts, and then we can all move on with our day. Like, and I love too that his whole kind of monologue about what do we do here, that we're like healthcare providers, and we find the illness within the empire and we remedy it, like as opposed to we snuff out insurrections or rebellions or anything like that.
Right.
The fact that that's kind of how he justifies it is that they are the medicine men sent to heal the empire. I
Yeah.
thought that was really, really cool.
Kind of switching groups of characters, I guess. We finally see Mon Mothma. I shouldn't say
Yes.
finally because it's only been we're only 4 episodes into the show, but
Mm-hmm.
I thought the interaction with when she goes home and she like brings like that gift home
Yeah.
for her husband, and her husband's like having this dinner and all these people are going to be here, and she's like, I don't want to talk to these two people. I'm interested to see like in the next few episodes, assuming we get something like that, the interaction maybe at that party, because it seems like they are political opponents. They are politically opposed in their ideologies, where she's trying to, in her mind, again, different sides have different ways of thinking, but she's trying to help and do all this stuff, and then the other side is like, no, like we're getting rid of whatever you're doing, basically. From what
Yeah.
that's what I understand.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting to see. So one of the names, the worst name that he name drops is Sly Moore, who
She looks
is
familiar.
yeah, she's Palpatine's chief of staff. So she
Oh,
was
okay,
right
gotcha.
there with him, as he made his announcements and stuff, and taking emergency powers, declaring the first galactic empire and everything. So she is literally like Palpatine's right hand woman in terms of
Right.
running the actual empire. And also in Legends and everything, she is force sensitive
Oh.
too. So she's like a big threat. Especially if she's coming to that dinner party. Whether they actually, I doubt they go into the force sensitivity and stuff. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
definitely if she does show up in the next episode or two at this dinner party, it'll be very interesting to see, because it'll be really one of the first times we're getting to see her have a bigger role. So yeah, very, very interesting. And then there's a lot of great, a lot of people. There's this whole controversy over this, one main person and then a couple others going on about how the show doesn't have any Easter eggs, or doesn't have enough Easter eggs, or like connections to greater Star Wars. This episode was filled with them, specifically in Luthen's shop. There was so many different things, from Star Wars Rebels, Star Wars Legends, Mandalorian armor, all these different things, stuff with ties back into Mortis, and Old Republic stuff, when he gives him that Kyber crystal as kind of his collateral, that like, this is me promising you that I know you'll come back, because I'm giving you this thing that matters so much to me and is valuable while you're at it. I know you're gonna come back. I'm gonna trust you by taking this. And he says that it was forged in remembrance of the Rakatan invasions, which the Rakatan Infinite Empire is like in Legends who like built the galaxy in the Old Republic. So that was like a very deep cut to like Knights of the Old Republic. And again, I don't expect that it's Tony or Dan Gilroy writing those things. It's probably,
Right.
the story group going, here's an impactful line that he can say that is super dramatic. But what do you think was some of your most impactful moments in this episode? Because for me, the character of Luthen Rail, played by Stellan Skarsgård, yes, I'm impressed. I think that Anton Lesser is just like boom, kind of like in a Moff Gideon sense, just comes like screaming onto screen as this, Grand Moff Tarkin type, just perfect fit for Star Wars. And I feel like Luthen is the exact same way for the extremism and for, the rebellion and everything. That just the more we find out about him and the more that we spend time with him, he just becomes such a deeper and interesting character. I thought two of his best moments was when he's talking to Vel, the kind of leader of this mission that Cassian is becoming a part of. And, she's kind of fed up with him and looks away, and he goes, look at me. Like, it was just this very, like, intense, like, oh, my God, moment. And then, of course, my other favorite Luthen moment, when he has that quiet moment of putting on the wig and, dressing himself and kind of, he changes into his character and everything.
Oh, I liked when he was like...
Yeah, when he was like, oh. Yeah, he was like looking at himself in the mirror. And then two, his accent, his whole, everything, the demeanor just completely changed. And just the fact that all that was done with no dialogue is, I know me and TJ talk about this all the time because it's a great show and it's on right now and we are covering it a lot on the channel. But this show is that House of the Dragon thing that we love in that show so much is... The show is being propelled forward by character choices and character decisions rather than just like passive things happening to people. You know what I mean? We're getting these little character moments with Luthen turning it, becoming this guy. Another show you very could easily just jump to Mon Mothma showing up at the shop and then, getting it filled in with one line of like, well, not all of us are, who we seem to be underneath, something like that. But this kind of, with him slowly putting it on and putting on like the purple cloak and stuff, and kind of I would almost say like the somber music. Again, I think Nicholas Breitel, who's the composer on this, is doing a phenomenal job with all the music so far. It just shows like this depth to the character without even having to say anything. But what were some of your favorite Luthen moments, or how did you feel about those ones that I just said?
No, that one was one of the best for me. Him like changing into this new character and doing his like practicing his like, oh, hello there, like like stuff like that. And I just really enjoyed seeing this like front of a store that he's kind of set up. Where it's kind of like I feel like it's probably just a meeting place so he can meet with Mon Mothma, I'd have to imagine, because he said, he mentions, he's like, oh, you got a new driver. She's like, yeah, they're they're switching all this stuff up, they're keeping an eye on me like at all times. So obviously they know like something's up, like the Empire has some sort of like idea that
I'm sure they know which senators
because like she mentions, like it's getting harder and harder to move the money around and not have anybody notice. So I love that whole exchange and the whole kind of like, oh yeah, like I forget like his like sidekick's name. She's not like a receptionist, but she's like his like, you know what I mean, assistant or whatever you want to call it.
Oh my god, I had her name like memorized and I completely forgot. Kaya.
But when she like takes her aside or takes the driver aside, it's like, oh, look at this, look at these like rocks we have or whatever. I thought that was really good too. Yeah, but it's very interesting to see like, because for me personally, that never even occurred to me, like the whole money thing. Like that never occurred to me that, I guess, of course, Rebellion obviously needs something to, get started, needs to get off the ground.
Yeah.
And as we can see, they don't really have much. So
Yeah,
it's interesting
they've
to see
been
where that money's coming
living
from.
off
And,
the land, basically.
basically, yeah.
Yeah, I think you bring up a really good point with the is it a meeting place for just to meet with Mon Mothma? What
Mhm.
even is the fake persona? Did he start
Yeah.
as this antiquities dealer on
Yeah.
Coruscant and then was
Yeah,
like,
good
we need to
point.
change things? Or
Mhm.
has he always been this revolutionary and then created this false identity to be closer to Coruscant type of thing? And I
Mhm.
love the fact that it could go either way. It could be all just a front just to meet with Mon Mothma. That's the only person that, because clearly it seems like he is very limited with who he interacts with, judging by the fact that the team going on the mission, which we'll talk about the mission next, doesn't even know he exists. They think that Vel
Mhm.
is just running everything herself. So it's just so many, and that's goes back to the promise of this show of intense spy thriller. We don't even know who's telling the truth, what is the truth, who even
Mhm.
some of these characters really are. We don't even know
Right.
simple things like that. And I just love that they just are so unashamed to keep these mysteries from these characters, or from these characters, about these characters from the fans,
Mhm.
letting the information unravel. Um, and that's the thing is that, and I'm not downing any of the other shows or anything out there. It's just the fact that I'm thinking in Andor, God, I can't wait for next week so that I can find out more about Luthen. Not, oh, I
Mhm.
can't wait next week is when, I think Cad Bane's going to show up. I think he's going to help Andor on the mission. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this show still does have surprises that when they show up, it's rewarding and everything. Um, we're gonna close out by talking about kind of the whole mission team and all that stuff. But before we get to that, how is the actual structure of this show working for you with the kind of 3 episode arcs? It was really great and really strong, I think, with the first 3 that we got them all at once and it was a satisfying arc. This one, however, we get this start of this arc about this mission is really going to be the overarching thing. Um, and then, it just cuts. A lot of people have talked about how the
Mhm.
episodes don't feel like they have a satisfying conclusion within the episode.
Yeah. Mhm.
That it just kind of cuts. How is that finding itself with you? Are you liking that, or do you wish it was a little more satisfying week to week?
Yeah, no, for me it works because it gives me something to look forward to for the next
Mm-hmm.
week. And I thought they balanced this episode 4. I thought they balanced all the stories pretty well.
Yeah.
I felt like as soon as I was starting to get a little bit bored of any of them, it would go to the next one, and I'd be like, okay, something new.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I would say I probably felt that the most with, and there's a lot of talking in this episode specifically. There's not a lot of action, which again, it's kind of like, I feel like episode 1 through 3 was very good at divvying up the talking and action sections. But this one, I'd say like I probably started to get most like bored, just like the rebellion of them talking, honestly. Just them all saying, like, asking who this guy is. They all
Yeah.
asked it at least once. But then it would like quickly go to like Mon Mothma or Luthen, and then I'd be like, oh, okay, I'm back in. But for me, it's working well. I think they're doing a good job.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm really glad that you said that because I do agree, and I've seen and I'm not saying that he is wrong for this. It's just Alex Damon over at Star Wars Explained. He's usually very positive and on board with a lot of stuff, but he has said in a couple of their reviews and podcasts about Andor that the kind of abrupt endings do cut off for him. And I was surprised because I should say more accurately, I usually agree with his opinions on stuff a lot. But for me, I agree with you. I think I think it's just a combination of there is so much TV on right now. There is so much to watch. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm satisfied, especially with this was a 51 or 50-minute episode or something.
Mm-hmm.
Totally enough for me. I mean, 45 minutes, 43 minutes
Yeah,
without
same.
credits, like stuff like that. So much happened this week. Like it is such a dense episode. And for me, I know some people might have an issue with that. Let us know if you know that how dense it is. Like TJ said, there is a lot of talking and dialogue in this episode specifically. Um, but it's just working for me so far. I mean, if it's something that keeps going like that and it does drag out, opinions can change obviously. But for me right now, I think it is working. I think when they got to that campfire and you know at the end of the episode when they're eating and everything and then talking about kind of like telling Cassian he's got to learn all this stuff by morning, and then
Mm-hmm.
just kind of his look off into the distance like, oh shit, this is kind of like way more intense than I think I thought it was. And then it just cuts. I was like perfect. I literally thought that was like the perfect ending to the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it was just kind of like the episode could have either ended right there or just gone back to Luthen or Mon Mothma, and I would have been just as okay. But I did really like the ending there. So we've talked about it a little bit, but let's close out here by talking about this mission and some of the newer people that we've met. So we have Nimic, Vel, as I said, obviously, Cinta, um, Terramin, Arvel Skeen, who's played by the guy who plays Richie in The Bear,
Mm-hmm.
which was awesome seeing him show up. And then Lieutenant Gorn, who appears to be their inside man on the inside of the Empire. Um, what do you think about this whole thing? Are you excited that this is kind of this driving force of these next 3 episodes? Is this kind of heist to steal, what is it? To steal the entire quarterly payroll of an imperial
Yeah.
sector, which I can't even imagine how
Yeah,
many credits that must
there's
be.
some like there's some like verbiage they're using or like
Hmm.
just things that they're talking about where I'm like, I don't know what that means. I'm excited
Yeah,
to see because when I think payroll, I just think like they're paying some, you know what I mean? Like you're on the payroll, okay?
yeah.
Like are they stealing money or are they stealing something like, more like material? That's what it seems like. But no, I am excited. I'm excited to see what they cuz uh Cassian's like that's not going to work, right? And then they're like, "Oh." Or are they like, "No, it's going to work."
Mm.
Cuz I forget which one it is. Is it like is he going to change the plan or are they still going forward with what the original plan
No, yeah,
was?
they're still going forward with it. So basically,
Okay.
what it is they're the Empire basically came in and dammed up this river and
Right.
built this factory under it because I guess they found out. I forget what they said that the natural caverns basically would allow them to
Hmm.
use it for like storage and stuff without
Oh,
actually
yeah.
having to like put in the work to do it and everything.
Yeah.
So they're gonna break in under there, and then their cover of getting out is this natural phenomenon that's like this meteor shower that now looks like that's exactly what's going on in the trailer. We remember that when Cassian shaved and he's piloting that ship and the sky's all
Hmm.
like these green asteroids. Everybody was like, "What is going on with that?" Now I would assume that's definitely gonna be at the mission, is that's them piloting out of there. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it's very, very interesting. I think, like, I agree with you that I didn't find the campfire stuff or the team boring as much as I was just. There's a lot of new people to meet, and we're kind of
Hmm.
just treading the same topic the entire episode with them, which is just, can we trust this guy? Do we trust this
Hmm.
guy? How did he get here? Why is he here? That kind of thing. Um, but again, also, we have to remember that it is just the first of 3 parts, that we're going to get at least 2 more episodes with a lot of these side characters. Um, but yeah, I think it's going to be very, very interesting to see who do you think, or do you think it's going to be a lot of them? But who do you think is going to bite it in the mission out of the team? My
Uh,
my money is definitely on Nimic, the younger guy. That's like, we should trust him. I have a good feeling.
yeah, yeah. It's either gonna be him or I was thinking maybe Skeen, Arvel Skeen. I don't
Oh
know
yeah,
why. He seems the most like I
anti
wouldn't say
Andor.
Yeah, he seems kind of pessimistic. He's like, I don't
Yeah,
know about this guy.
he might have a
Um,
good, a good sacrifice death.
right. Or it might be, I mean, I really doubt it, but it might be, what's her name? The main girl.
Vel, yeah,
Sartha? Vel? Yeah.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's
And
definitely
then he has
possible.
to lead, maybe.
Yeah, he's probably gonna, has to take over, step up type of thing.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I am super super excited just to see kind of where this goes and where the rest of it goes. Also, all right, let's close out with this. Cyril Karn. So we see him, he's dejected. He gets fired from the corpos and everything. He kind of has the long shuttle transport back to Coruscant to Mom's house.
Hmm.
And then she greets him with a slap and then a hug. And he has no dialogue in the episode whatsoever. Um, well, at least no dialogue once he goes to Coruscant. It's just we're literally just following him going to his mom's house. But where do you think we're gonna pick up with him next week? What do you think is gonna happen with? I know we both said we think that he's probably gonna end up teaming up with Marrow to investigate Andor further. But how do you think that's gonna happen? What do you think is next for Cyril Karn?
I don't know, because I'm interested to see this, like, relationship he has with his mom.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, she has not seen him in a very long time from her
Yeah.
reaction. Um, so I don't know if he like just like dipped when he was younger, like what the
Mm-hmm.
deal was. But yeah, if we think they're going to, team up or work together, um, I don't know. I think obviously she's gonna keep like digging at whatever this thing is that's going on. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe she'll find his information in some way and see that he was like on the ground for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's definitely possible. I think that I think it might just be that she's gonna finally look into it further, get the
Mm,
information she wants, and then see that he, or at least his mother lives on Coruscant. Or maybe they even took note that he was going to Coruscant because it would make
mm-hmm.
sense that, all the people they dismissed, they probably want to keep a little bit of a track on to make sure that nobody's seeking revenge or anything against the ISB. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that'll be very interesting. But I think definitely we're going to be seeing them team up sooner rather than later. Um, I was thinking, do you think that his mother? Do you think that like he and his mother are from Coruscant, or do you think it's more like? Do you think that people go to Coruscant like to retire? It almost seemed like she's just like living by herself
She's
there,
living
like
in
in a
like a
condo.
condo.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you see
Um.
like the other old person like behind them, like just like staring,
Yeah, and I love.
which I thought was
She's like,
funny.
what are you looking at? I
Yeah.
thought that was funny. Um, another Harry Potter actress. She's the woman who played Mrs. Fig in Order of the Phoenix, um, playing
Oh
Sierra
yeah.
Karn's mother.
Yeah,
Um,
she I recognize, or I didn't recognize her, but I clicked on her IMDb and
mhm.
she was in, did you ever watch the Tragedy of Macbeth? The most recent one?
Yeah, Oh, yeah,
She
she
played
was
the
in that too.
witches. She played
Oh,
the
wow. Oh,
witches, which I didn't know. Yeah.
damn! Look at that. The more you know. But yeah, I mean, I think absolutely incredible episode here. Yeah, just looking at this header, this poster for Andor, it looks like Vel and Cinta are both in the main cast on the poster
Mm.
here, so maybe they will have a bigger role to play in the future. Um, I don't see Nimic on the poster though, so see how it ends for him. But he's got a good feeling about Andor, and so do we. I think both of us really enjoyed this episode. But guys, let us know, what do you think about Andor so far? We've got the first 3 episodes that dropped last week, and now this 4th episode here. I really enjoyed it. TJ really enjoyed it. But let us know: are we crazy? Are we stupid? Or are we right? Do you like this season so far, this series so far? How do you feel about it? Who are some of your favorite characters, moments, themes, anything like that? That'll do it for me. I have been one of your hosts, Sean Monk. Make sure to go and follow us at the official PFN on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
I've been your other host, TJ Cornwall. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Andor, episode 4. Hopefully, episode 5 is just as good. As Sean said, go follow us on all our social media channels, like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.
Boom.